set. They're off for the 234th running of the Ladbroke St Leger, the world's oldest classic, a field of 10 breaking from the stalls, and Corsica is the first one to show up and strides into a lead of a couple of lengths from Total Command in the pink cap, who races wide of Ted Spread. Arctic Cosmos in a white sleeve jacket is wide of Midas Touch. Dandino slotting in against the fence. Rewilding in the noseband. Frankie Dettori in the Godolphin blue has settled in midfield. He's tracking Dandino as they go through the first quarter of a mile. Working back to Snow Fairy, who's wide of Joshua Tree, and Theology is last of the 10-strong field. Corsica leads then in the hands of Joe Fanning. 3 lengths up, followed by Ted Spread. Total Command, the pink cap, is in third. Midas Touch, Colin O'Donoghue in the dark blue is against the fence, kept company by Arctic Cosmos, going on the incline. Then a couple of lengths to Dandino from Rewilding. Joshua Tree in the purple and white is on the inside of the duel. Oaks Heroine, Snow Fairy, and Theology in the hands of Paul Hannigan remains at the tail of a pretty well stretched out field as they reach the highest point of the course and make the descent at the end of almost 5 furlongs. So it's still Corsica who leads, chased by Ted Spread, Total Command, Midas Touch, then Arctic Cosmos. There goes Dandino in a black and white jacket. 3 lengths away to Rewilding, who's ridden patiently, stalked by Snow Fairy. Joshua Tree up the fence. Spencer had a quick peek down by the looks of things on Joshua Tree, and Theology remains last of all. Moving steadily towards the halfway point, and still Frankie sitting pretty, no move yet aboard Rewilding. Quite happy to track Dandino as on the sharp end Corsica remains 3 lengths up on the pursuers, who are still headed by Ted Spread. Then Total Command, they're beyond halfway now. Arctic Cosmos in the headgear is racing wide of Midas Touch. 2 lengths to Dandino in the black and white silks of the Elite Racing Club. Rewilding next. The final 3 are still Snow Fairy, Joshua Tree, and Theology. Passing the 5, they swing for home in the Ladbroke St Leger. There'd be a good 12-15 lengths covering the field, and Corsica has the advantage, but is being reeled back as he swings on in. He's only 2 lengths clear, chased by Ted Spread. Total Command, pink cap, away to the right, followed by Midas Touch. Frankie now just beginning to niggle away on Rewilding, has still got 5 or 6 lengths to find. Arctic Cosmos in the headgears making headway. Away to the left, Snow Fairy moving into it, the red sleeve jacket, upsize Dandino. Corsica still leads as they race for the last 2.5 furlongs. Far side Midas Touch. Arctic Cosmos towards the near side is produced to the hands of William Buick. Then Total Command from Snow Fairy. Rewilding has drifted across the fence, has still got 4 lengths to find, and it's Arctic Cosmos who quickens up to lead with a furlong and a half to go from the pace-setting Corsica. Then Midas Touch, Snow Fairy, Joshua Tree. Rewilding is beaten. Arctic Cosmos for John Gosden, a couple lengths clear, chased by Corsica and Midas Touch. Arctic Cosmos driven out to make sure Midas Touch is closing, but Arctic Cosmos gives John Gosden a 3rd Ladbroke St Leger, a 1st for William Buick. Close for second between Midas Touch and Corsica. Snow Fairy, Joshua Tree, and Rewilding were next.
It's a 3rd St Leger for John Gosden. It's a classic for William Buick. The horse who came through the handicap route, Arctic Cosmos, wins the 2010 Ladbroke St Leger.
Let me do what I want. He said, we won't run after Goodwood. We'll freshen him for the race. And then I said, he's just worked so lazily. I can't afford to give this field 10 lengths. I said, I want to put a little American semi-blinker on. And they thought, Swallow, okay, do what you think's best. And he's done it like a proper horse. We always dreamt he was a Leger horse, and our dreams have come true. So we're somewhat over the moon.
I saw you, sadly, after he came out from the boxes, and you were just worried. Was there something just annoying him? Was it the blinker? What was it?
No, I was looking at him because I was wondering if I got him a touch light for the race. On the other hand, when you run this distance, you can't be sending a horse here carrying too much weight, because they've got to carry it 1 mile 6.5. But I tell you what, he's won like a good one. And the little boy did a rain dance, so we got that shower, and I promise you that little ease helped him.
Very well done.
Thank you, mate.
It was a perfect front-running ride on a horse who shouldn't have been anywhere near the top 2. Brilliant, brilliant ride from Fanning on Corsica. But this is William Buick's day. This is Arctic Cosmos's day. We'll head back to the track.
It's been a meteoric rise to stardom for this young man, hasn't it, William Buick? It seems like, well, only a few months ago that he was setting out on the circuit as a £7 claimer. Victorious here in the oldest classic of them all, the Ladbrokes St Leger, and how his career has blossomed in the hands of John Gosden this season. Full credit to this master trainer who last won the Leger here in 2007 with Lucano, of course. Arctic Cosmos came through the handicap route, was twice beaten, this horse, in handicaps off a mark of 78 this season. But how he began to put it together in recent runs, many people thought that he really came of age as a serious Leger contender when a fast finishing third from a long way off the pace in the Gosden Stakes. And John Gosden has always kept the belief in this horse. There's the Leger cap, and that will belong to William Buick. In a few moments' time, he'll be donning that in front of a barrage of photographers, and that will take pride of place in the Buick household, of course. William's father, of course, a jockey himself, had success in Norway as a rider. He'll be proud of his son now, as William takes his place on the winner's podium. A little bit different to an ordinary race, as you'd expect here, because he's being weighed in on the winner's podium in front of the public. And he'll be back very shortly to receive the accolades and the winner's memento, and more importantly, that famous Leger cap. There's going to be so many stories to unfold in the next couple of hours. The disappointment of rewilding. Frankie Dettori looked in trouble a long way down. The failure to shine of Dandino. The remarkable performance of the pacemaking Corsica under a beautiful ride and a determined ride by Joe Fanning to make the frame. And once again, a bridesmaid Midas touch, but how well has that colt run in defeat? Another fascinating Ladbrokes St Leger. We'll be getting the reaction from all of the leading players in the next few minutes or so. Jason, beautifully placed to get a word with the winning trainer, John Gosden. And Arctic Cosmos, now a classic winner. Matt, this may well have been the result that quite a lot of people didn't expect. I mean, rewilding was never really a factor when it mattered. And Arctic Cosmos, well, it's been a remarkable rise through the ranks for this horse, hasn't it?
Now that is the cap that the Leger jockey wears. That will probably just about cover little Buick. It does. It's a fashion item that few jockeys would want to be without. And every chance William will be wearing that cap in the bath tomorrow morning. He is the Ladbrokes St Leger winning jockey. It's a thumbs up from Buick.
Well, a flash of cameras behind me here. Young William donning the Leger cap, and Arctic Cosmos will now add his name to that fantastic roll of honour. There's a wall in the main grandstand dedicated to all of the Leger winners, and Arctic Cosmos, well, his name will be added to that list very shortly. A very tough performance. It's going to be fascinating, isn't it, given that this horse's late development, to see exactly what John Gosden has in mind from here on in. This horse was a handicapper racing off a fairly modest mark midway through the season, but he really was a slow burner, a late developer who has come good on the most important day for him of the season. Well, we've got a big